can exist in a world like this. Don't abandon them. You need to embrace all that you are. Stare fear in the face to reach for the stars.
Hey everybody. So a little over a year ago, our least favorite person, that seems like our ever-growing list, Bryan Kohberger. I never thought I would do a stream about him, but yet here we are. Admitted in an Idaho courtroom that he unalived 4 people with a sharp object. That he unalived Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. He told the judge that he understood the plea agreement. He said nobody threatened him, nobody coerced him, nobody made him any secret promises, and that he was satisfied with his attorneys and the job they did. And when the judge asked him whether he was pleading guilty because he was in fact guilty, Kohberger said yes. Now, fast forward. From prison, Kohberger is telling an entirely different story. Is this because of what had happened? Is this entirely changing because he's unhappy with his prison conditions and he just got moved to general population? I don't know. Or is this just him wanting to create more drama and not let the families heal? He says his attorneys hid evidence, terrified him with fabricated stories about death row, unauthorized promises, and actually advised him to lie in court. And with that, both versions of events cannot be true at the same time. However, I have to go do mama duties. Thank you for your patience with me. It has been a very stressful week in this house when it come to potty training. And yet again, we had another pray for this house and my budget with buying underwear, because I just had to throw another one in the garbage because there was no saving it. If you know, Pray for me. Pray for me. However, welcome back to Squid Pro Quo, where we have mama dramas acting up literally as we speak. Holy hell. Usually I try to investigate before I react, but I'm in full react mode now. And this story definitely needs the investigate before you react, because I never thought on this channel that I would talk about Kohberger, because I did not talk about him when his case was active. I did not talk about the plea deal. I saw it. I watched it just like everybody else. But today, we're going to read what the plea deal actually said, what he actually, we're probably going to get to what he actually said in court. And we're going to look at what he actually filed, handwritten affidavit, also the statement he gave to the New York Times. All if I can regain my composure, because I literally just asked her 30 seconds before I hit go live, do you have to go to the bathroom? She said no. 30 seconds to a minute into my intro, hell hath broke loose in this house. Ergo, I'm a little flustered. Sorry for that. Hey, Renee's Retro Relics. Thanks for being a member for a year. I'm off work and I actually get to watch you live. Hey, good to see you. I wish I was running late because I had errands and 3D World stuff. I had lunch with a couple of my friends on their lunch hour from work. Then I had to run a couple errands, got home and got busy chatting in Spawn's chat and got sidetracked with the time. Did some mama stuff. Hopped on the computer, did a little work. Asked her, because that's the last thing I always ask before I hit live. And sometimes that's why I'm late, because sometimes she tells me I gotta go. So we go. Yeah, she plays the game well, but it's a dirty game, because it's no longer just number one. It's smelly. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Anyway, so we're going to look at his pro se, whatever he's doing. And I just feel like this is an attention grab, because I just feel like this is an attention grab. I don't have proof. This is me speculating. However, I knew that when he first went to prison, he was in separated whatever. He was in protective custody because of the nature of this and the high profile who he was and all of that. However, I have a feeling he has hit the time and place where people have forgotten about him and it's no big deal anymore. And he went to Gen Pop. This is my pure speculation. I have not heard, I have not seen anybody else talk about this, but I would be interested in what Jumpsuit Pablo has to say about this, because he knows people and has sources on the inside. And if he releases a video on this, I would definitely go and watch that, because he probably has a better insight than we do. Because of the fact that he has sources, he might know if this is an attention grab or if Kohberger is scared. So, like, 2-beer rule for a drunk. No, I don't have to go potty for a 4-year-old. Yeah, but it's not the pee that we have to worry about right now, because she's generally pretty good with that, unless she's having a tantrum and she works herself up to the point where she pees herself. But I can wash pee out of anything. I can throw something in the wash, but there's only so much I can get only so many racing stripes I can get out of a pair of underwear. You know what I mean? Hey, King Bob. I'm here. I'm functioning. I am I'm functioning. I feel like I'm prepared, and when I am prepared, something sidetracks me. However, she starts school next week, so her bowel and bladder habits during the day are somebody else's problem. Ergo, maybe she'll figure out that she needs to tell people in a way that I'm not doing. So, this is Bryan Kohberger's statement to the New York Times. Over a year later, it is self-evident that State v. Kohberger justice was not served. And I'm going to try not to roll my eyes during this, but you might see it because, y'all, what the hell is this? The length of the time past sentence, I believe, will be problematic for him. I'll lay odds he will use Garza SCOTUS decision, which was a timely appeal immediate after sentence. The time frame also is what makes me think that this is an attention grab. Or he got moved from protective custody to Gen Pop and something happened. And he became someone's bitch. Hypothetically, of course, I have no idea about any of this. However, this is just me speculating that he's in Gen Pop and he's not having a good time. He's suffering the consequences of his actions, and he's trying to find a way to get out of it. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you are awaiting trial, you are in a county jail, not a state prison. There's a little bit different of a, I don't know what I did here, but fireworks. There's a little bit different of a dynamic in a state or a county jail versus a state prison. Never been to either one of them. Do not plan on going. However, with that being said, I can only imagine that he was comfortable in the county jail, not comfortable in prison. Yeah. 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 Well, we have his plea deal. I have his plea deal, and I'm going to, Roy, I saw your other comment. Snipe, I saw your comment. We're gonna get to the actual plea deal, but I wanted to see what he actually wrote and what is new before we get to what was. And hey, Stacy, and hey, Heather, how are you? It's celebratory for you doing such good momming. Well, here's the bright side. We went through a phase where she would withhold. I guess we're improving. I guess you could say. We went through a phase where we were backed up because we would withhold our bowels. And now she's not afraid to let it go. She just doesn't tell me she has to and doesn't go in the toilet. So we're making progress. I mean, she does occasionally. I would say about 33% of the time. But the last 2 days in a row, we've not it's not been pretty. So, oh no, that was forced. That was after a ER visit because of the backed upness, or a doctor's visit because of the backed upness. That was the doctor wanting to forcibly remove everything from her. Let's put it that way. If you know, you know. If you don't know, It's probably better that way. So this is just normal, this is just normal everyday people gotta go. However, we're not withholding anymore, so we're making progress. No, it was just she just had to go, but it's like she has no problem going whenever she needs to go number 1. It's just number 2. She's very hesitant to sit on the potty because she thinks if it doesn't take like 30 seconds, she can wipe and be done, that it's a waste of time. And it's like, that's not how that shit works. So, anyway. So this is Kohberger's statement. Over a year later, it is self-evident that State v. Kohberger, justice was not served. Unanswered questions seem to multiply with each piece of discovery unsealed, and the public demands the truth. Not exactly, sir. The public demands that you just go away and you let these families heal. I am very interested in them getting the right person, no matter what case it is, in what county, in what state. However, with that being said, you pled guilty, sir. Unfortunately, the truth shall never be derived from the state's myopic narrative, a work of fiction, which has yet to evolve since the PCA was released nearly 4 years ago, and its faulty premises were never challenged at trial. You pled guilty. Circumnavigated by a broken plea, the trial never provided the public the clarity conducive to closure, and justice shall remain objectively miscarried unless that plea is withdrawn. This strikes me as the writings of someone who thinks they're smarter than you. Because remember, he was a graduate student. I can't remember if he was a PhD or just a master's, but he was a graduate student. He is trying to use words in this that makes me think I am smarter than you. Myopic narrative, a work of fiction. Is he writing his thesis? I hereby declare my intention to enter a not guilty plea and welcome the state the opportunity to prove their case at trial, as well as to again file for the death penalty. My actual innocence is my truth, and the plea, hinged on by false promises and blatant disinformation, must be withdrawn. Thank you for all who continue to believe in my innocence. Does anybody actually? Is there anybody who actually believes in his innocence? Because I don't know. My actual innocence is my truth, and the plea hinged on by false promises and blatant disinformation must be withdrawn. Thank you for all who believe in my innocence and continue to critically analyze the case. I send my love to my family who have never wavered in their belief in who I am, their belief in my innocence. Yeah, well, I'm sure you can, but it's that Supreme Court case that Volusia 1 recognized or told us about. State v. Garza v. Idaho, 2019. But that was, as Volusia 1 said, was shortly after sentencing, not a year later. And I don't remember when his actual sentencing was. It just says a year. I don't remember when the actual specific date was. However, right here. So another narcissist who's educated beyond their intelligence. Got it. LOL. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those situations where I feel like this is his like I'm not diagnosing him because I can't. That is not my job, and I can't even if I was a psychologist or a psychiatrist, you cannot remote diagnose anybody. That is against their ethical standards. With that being said, I feel like he's a psychopath. Like if I were to hypothetically talk about anything, he strikes me as a psychopath. He strikes me as a Jeffrey Dahmer type. The type who just knows that they're doing something wrong and just does not care. Does not care. The type that just likes to toy with people's emotions. So a year later, I have never been in the situation of the parents, and I never want to be. However, about a year later, time has passed. You're starting to emotionally you obviously never get over the death of a child. I understand that. And I'm not trying to say that the parents are healed and back to their normal lives.
Mommy,
However,
pet.
yep, that's your new one.
A pet.
Yep, but not now. Later.
Yes.
Yes. A year is about the time when like you start to feel some semblance of a normal routine, and you might not be crying your eyes out every day if you're a mom. If you started to take any medications, I'm not saying they did. This is hypothetically if this were me. I'd probably have like my therapy schedule like worked out. I've probably worked through some things with my therapist, and I'm probably getting to a sense of my new normal just in time for him to bullshit this. Just about for him, that scab is starting to heal a little bit, and just the time for him to just take that scab and just tear it open. And I feel like this is what he's doing. Just my opinion. Like I said, I could be wrong. More like John Wayne Gacy. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just more familiar with Dahmer considering we were, I wouldn't say neighbors, but like we lived in the same town. I knew where his address was. Let's put it that way. July of 2025. Okay. So a year. Oy vey. So the affidavit I have in two different. Please. I have in two different things. Affidavit page 1. There we go. And I'll try to make this bigger. Do.
Mama.
Angel. Ugh, this is gonna do this. Let's do. Whoa. I really miss StreamYard in the I could put things. There we go. Things made a little more sense, and I could customize these exactly the way I wanted to.
Yes.
Rug burns on his knees. Are there rugs in prison? But I get your point. Oh. Just got my lip balm. All right. I finally figured out how to add more pages to stuff.
Mommy.
So-
Mommy.
We'll
Mommy.
There we go.
Mommy.
all right. Bryan Kohberger, and he wrote this by hand. So, dude, you think in the year you've been in prison, you could have worked on your handwriting a little bit? I mean, you got time. You got plenty of time. This is the best you could come up with in a year? Affidavit in... Ma'am, please. I'm going to put you down. Affidavit of facts in support of post-conviction petition. State of Idaho, County of Ada. Bryan Kohberger, being first duly sworn on oath, deposes and says, "It is hereby declared that during attorney-client discussions, most of which included all members of Bryan Kohberger's immediate family." You'd think he would have taken handwriting lessons from Sarah Boone. At least hers was legible. I mean, it was more rambly, but it was legible. Petitioner was convinced to falsely confess to capital murder and felony burglary by coercion. Stop. Okay. Disinformation, false promises, and the withholding of exculpatory discovery. The following is material to the inception of the plea. 1. Counsel's failure to inform petitioner of exculpatory discovery received during plea discussions, namely clumps of unknown hair found in Ethan Chapin's hands, as well as a failure of further inquiry. I mean, that is interesting, and if true, I believe he was moved. I called it. Didn't I call it? I thought he was moved to Gen Pop. That was kind of like he was in protective custody at the start. I knew it was going to be 6 months to a year of him being in protective custody until until shit died down and the media died down and people forgot about him and people moved on. And then he was going to get moved to Gen Pop. He got moved to Gen Pop. Petitioner was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in considering plea acceptance. Y'all, sorry for my silence, but accepting a guilty plea, you're admitting that you're guilty. So if you come back and later say, I didn't do it, that's a high hurdle to jump back over. I was just about to say that about Sarah's handwriting, but I'm eating my dog with my mouth full. Oh, Sarah Boone, the queen of handwritten letters from jail. Yeah, Bryan K. I didn't do this. And you would think people would be, I wouldn't say scared of him, because that's not the right word. But there's a difference, and this is just me looking at the psychology of crimes. When someone uses a sharp object to take someone else's life versus something like a pew-pew, you can do a pew-pew is a distance thing. A sharp object and basically kind of like strangling, you're up close and personal. You can basically feel the life leave someone. That's a very it takes a special kind of person to do that. And after one let's be honest here, after you unalive one person, it's all numbers from there. I mean, y'all really send them super chats now, because that phrase probably just got me demonetized. But from the psychology of the criminal mind, once you have done the ultimate crime, it's all just numbers. After that, does it really matter to them? So And I'm sorry, I will never admit to something I didn't do. Especially that. But it takes a special kind of person. So in prison, knowing other inmates know what he did, he's not afraid to do it again. So he's not somebody that I would really want to I wouldn't want to be friends with, but I wouldn't want to make enemies with, because you never know what he's capable of, because he's a little not right up there. Not crazy, but just some wires got crossed somewhere along the lines that made him think that taking somebody else's life that up close and personal was an okay thing. And the fact that he could live with himself and go on like nothing ever happened is another thing. Well, yes, it matters to the unalived. Of course it does. But to the person who did it, after that, it's all numbers, and it really doesn't matter to them, because that is the ultimate crime. There's no statute of limitations on unaliving. It's just, so he's one of those. Yeah, but he's with people who, that's one of the things, like, I wouldn't want to make enemies with him, but I wouldn't want to be his friend either. I'd just, like, kind of leave him alone, because he's that, like, person that you never know what they're going to do. And when someone is that calm, oh yeah, I did hear that he was being taunted by inmates because.
Mommy, I want my hair.
Is it spicy? I did hear about him. Jumpsuit Pablo has a lot of. Check out his channel if you don't know who that is. Check out his channel, because he does a lot of stuff on prison calls, or what it's like to be an inmate, and what someone is going through as an inmate. He just did a video on Carmelo Anthony and the food. So, it's a very interesting Ted Bundy vibes. He wants isolated again. I don't know. It's hard to say what he wants, but I think he wants to torture the families. Petitioner was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in considering plea acceptance. Death row was imminent. Well, you're in Idaho, bro. Advised to lie. Petitioner was to gain a legal victory in entering a false plea. Oh no. I just don't I don't sometimes you look at stuff and you're like, I don't understand things. This is one of those. Oh, and thank you, King Bob, for the $10 PayPal. For young lady squid birthday. Doesn't feel right calling her baby squid anymore. Yeah, you got $10 for your birthday. We'll go shopping.
I text?
Yeah, you got a text from Georgia Power. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like,
Sassy!
a gross, spicy, a gross misrepresentation of and promises regarding.
Mommy, I ate it.
You ate it all. Good job. You want your wipe off your hands? It's
done.
the way he writes his R's is something I've never seen before. And like I said, no handwriting expert, not even a psychology expert. I just have a degree in occupational therapy assistant and had a lot of psychology classes. So it's fascinating to me. I've never seen anybody write R's pretty much backwards, or they look like a little Y. Like here in Petitioner, it's a very interesting way of it's an interesting way of writing. Petitioner was to gain a legal victory in entering a false plea.
Mommy?
A gross misrepresentation of
Mommy?
and promises regarding what a life sentence would immediately afford petitioner.
Sassy. 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 Sassy.
Spicy?
Yeah.
I had siete nacho chips for her, and she loves them, but they're spicy. And they're just not spicy to her, they're spicy. He's scared of being forgotten. Yeah. And thanks, Heather.
This is
Uh,
yes.
a gross misrepresentation of death row in Idaho, including an elaborate fabricated. Do you notice how this was added? Fabricated was added later. Fabricated wasn't on there to begin with. So an elaborate story of counsel's horrific experience touring an actual 8x8 death row cell. Let's see.
It's a 666. Mommy, it's a 666. Mommy, it's 666. 666.
Yep.
Oh, it says
So
666.
death row cell.
666.
Angel, shush. Jeffrey. An death row cell and communicated to petitioner and his family allegedly. You see this? These are words are added later.
Mommy, it says that.
Yes. By Idaho Department of Corrections through
No.
counsel, thus constituting threats and promises made.
Mommy, but he got it.
Yes. To induce a plea agreement. This was signed 7/22/26. Certification under penalty of perjury. Not like he gives a hoot about perjury, because what are they going to do? Charge him for perjury? Y'all. Stop. That's enough. Girl, you got enough on your face. You don't need any more. You're cute. You're cute as a button.
I want to taste Daddy.
You gotta, if you,
Mommy,
And-
I want to taste Daddy.
and I apologize. Hold on one second. Stats. Thank you for the Kofi.
It's a
It
cake.
says happy birthday.
Happy Daddy.
Happy birthday.
It's a cake.
Yep, it's a cake. Yes.
I want button.
You want to bite it? No, you can't bite it. It's not that kind of cake. It's not that kind of cake, beautiful. Thank you, Stats.
This is us.
Yeah, say thank you, Stats.
It is us.
And I'm being extra careful because I know that sometimes I get people's, when it comes to PayPal, your real names, and if you don't go by them on YouTube, I'm trying my damnedest not to share that information. So if you see me getting a little, I'll start to say something and then stop myself. Please forgive me.
So, take.
Yay. Uh-oh.
Take.
Yes, you got cake.
Take.
Yes.
Take. Four.
All right.
Take. Four.
It's appreciated.
Four.
And hi, Myra Garden. Thanks for becoming a Tentacle Nation member. I appreciate you.
I
All right. So Bryan Kohberger being the douche canoe he is.
I want home.
Well, I appreciate
I
the.
want to touch Daddy.
Okay. Here's the thing about that is like I try not to be a douchebag. You know what I mean? And if people don't put their real names out there, even if I know it
No.
and it comes through as and it comes through as their real name, if I know who they are on YouTube, I will say their YouTube name. And if you send me anything like that and you know that I'm going to see your real name, please just let me know your YouTube name or your Discord name or something so that I can give you the credit without putting your personal information out there.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Mommy.
we wanted to add your shopping trip saying my name is adorable. She has her moments. I'm not entirely sure what our streaming schedule is going to look like quite yet.
Mommy, I won't call Naha.
Okay, go on.
No, I won't call
You're not
Naha.
calling her from up here. You got to go down if you're going to do it.
No, I won't want to.
Okay. So, it's one of those situations. So, AP says, "Thank you for the $10 super chat." Says, "Happy birthday, fellow Leo, young squid." And AP, I hope you are doing well. I really hope you're doing well. I write even better than Bryan. That's bad.
It's a baby. It's a baby.
Well, you don't try to act like you're smarter than everybody else. You just stay in your lane. And generally, when people stay in their lane, it comes across as authentic and not douche canoe-ish,
Dear Mommy.
if that makes sense. Bryan! Holy crap, I lost my membership. I'm sorry. I didn't do anything. Girl, you have so much lip balm on. It's not even funny. So she has a doctor's appointment this week, and I was messaging her dad this morning about the cost and stuff and, you know, all of that stuff. And I messaged him how much it was going to cost, and he said,
Mommy.
yes. And he said, use the HSA card. And she saw a card and said, shopping. Mommy, shopping.
Mommy,
And I'm like,
shopping. Mommy,
no, that's the
shopping.
HSA card, sweet pea. Like,
What?
and Bryan, thanks for re-upping
Sis-
your membership and becoming a member of
It's
Tentacle
okay.
Nation.
It's a nummy.
I'm smarter than everyone else. I am the science after all.
Happy Mommy. Happy birthday.
Bryan, you're the best. All right. So that's Kohberger, and what he actually filed was just, yeah. Bye, Mary Beth.
Mommy, not her cats.
Yes.
I want to try. No, I want to try.
I have to message her.
No, I want to mess it.
So, the hair is the one thing that I find interesting.
Mommy, not her cat.
Yes, I need to text her back. There you go. All right.
Mama said, Daddy.
And Jeffrey, thanks for the $10 super chat. Shiba dog squeezing a big red heart.
Mommy, I want to try. It
Okay, you can message her.
Mommy.
Ladies' good shopping trip is growing. Yes, it is. AP, I'm riding the struggle bus, normally in and out of consciousness at this hour of the day. I'm so sorry, but it is good to see you. And I
Mommy,
hope you're
that's
doing okay.
cats. Daddy cats. Mommy, Daddy cats. Mommy, Daddy cats. Mommy, Daddy cats.
Okay, there you go. All right. The eyes. It's always the eyes. The serial killers.
Susanna.
Yeah.
Susanna. Susanna.
Should I just do like a somebody's taking over the world?
Mommy, Susanna. Susanna. Susanna.
Oi. Oi.
Daddy cat.
All right.
Mommy, daddy cat.
So from what I can gather, counsel allegedly received that information during plea negotiations. But Kohberger says it was not discussed with him and not adequately investigated. For some reason, I think hair and DNA and hair, I'm thinking that might have been, I don't have access to all the documents, and I'm not sure. But something tells me if I was a cop or an investigator, crime scene tech, and a deceased individual had hair in their hand, I would be DNA testing that. There's I'm just breaking down his claims and what I feel like I would have done, or I feel like investigators would do outside of Canton, Massachusetts. If you know, you know.
Mommy's there. Imagine. Mommy, imagine. And I said, how would I take?
Yes. Shh. I'm busy. So if you want to talk to her, you gotta get down, okay? Okay. All right. So, but it was unknown to him. But what date was it given in plea negotiations? Was the hair even human? Was DNA done, or was it even possible to get done? Could it belong to Ethan or another victim or a roommate or an emergency responder? Because it doesn't say how big. When I think clump of hair, I think good size clump of hair. However, he's dramatic and trying to get a trial.
Hello.
So a clump of hair to him is probably a gross exaggeration of what it is. And these are just questions that I would raise. There's questions I'd raise based on a hair of human hair, a clump of human hair. With the time it took to find him and how they found him, they tested every bit of hair if they found it. Yeah, it's, you know, I don't think that's wrong. But even evidence that's favorable to his side is not proof of innocence and does not mean that your guilty plea should be overturned. We're just breaking these things down one step at a time. So claim number 2, he was allegedly advised to lie. So he said, and I'm going to read it from the actual thing again, the actual affidavit. So, advised to lie. Do you really believe that 4 experienced defense attorneys collectively would advise a client to lie? Especially attorneys, or at least one attorney, that is familiar with the death penalty and has to be basically a death penalty lawyer. Entering a false plea described as a legal victory. Even Bubbles wouldn't describe that as a legal victory. Death row was presented as imminent. Do you think these lawyers, as experienced as they were, although they were paid for by the state because he was an indigent defendant, do you really think they would do something like that? Or is Kohberger trying to recharacterize aggressive plea advice as coercion? Because you can be aggressively advised on certain things, but that doesn't mean you're coerced into doing anything. Angel, you need to stop.
It's not.
Yeah, it is. But please stop.
Hello.
Okay. The fabricated story of a cell,
Mommy,
an 8x8 cell,
Mommy,
or is that a
Mom.
6x8 cell? Now that I'm reading it again, I thought it was 8x8 the first time I read it, and now I think it's 6x8. Now that I'm looking at this affidavit again, like let's look at this affidavit, page 1 more time. I think this in the corner down here, and I have to go do mama duties in a minute. But this down here, I think that's 6x8. I thought it was 8x8 when I first read it, but now I'm thinking it's 6x8. Even though there's an extra line up here. It just doesn't match his other 8 now that I'm reassessing these. Oh, have some coffee for me. All right, and I have to go do mama duties. This will be quicker than the last one. All right.
Hello, Mommy.
Nothing.
Hello, Mommy.
Hey, Angel. Nothing about the death penalty is imminent.
Mom.
Inmates sit for 20 to 30 years as appeals work through the system. Yeah. It is, Nana. Yes, I see. I see. All right. So, this fabricated story, that the fabricated was added afterwards. Like, the fabricated wasn't there initially, because look at how he wrote it off to the left. So remember, the fabricated was added afterwards. Lawyers often do. I'm not a lawyer, but I would think they often do explain all consequences of actions to clients, both positive and negative.
Mommy.
Part of being, I would think, a good lawyer is explaining to your client who is involved in a death penalty case is that the death penalty might be an option that he might receive if he goes ahead with trial. It's not necessarily saying that it's imminent or trying to scare him into it. It's reality. Fear of receiving the death penalty does not make a plea involuntary. It's if someone is facing capital murder, that defendant is under enormous pressure. The legal questions that I have is who created the pressure, the lawful charges and evidence, or unconstitutional deception by counsel. And his last claim that I think, the big claims, y'all can decipher more out of there. These are just things that, looking through, that I just 1, 2, 3, 4, he labeled them. Unauthorized threats or promises. He literally says they, like, misrepresentation of threats and promises. Like, and then the second page, it's communicated to petitioner and his family by the Idaho Department of Corrections through counsel, thus constituting threats and promises made to induce a plea agreement. What threats and promises? Placement, protection, prison conditions. Was it in writing? Was it just verbalized? Was it hearsay? Did it contradict with what is written in the plea agreement? So, getting to
Mommy.
the plea agreement,
Mommy.
it's short and sweet.
No,
Protective custody. He might have thought he was going to be in protective custody the whole time. And when he got moved to Gen Pop, as generally people do, he got pissed. If I remember right, he was the one who wanted to plead and seemed surprised she'd spoken of his innocence up until then. You know, and hey, French, how are you?
I got you.
All right, so here's the actual plea agreement. Whoop.
Oh,
All right.
all right.
Let me zoom in just a little bit more. Latah County Prosecutor's Office to Moscow, Idaho. So, by and through the Latah County Prosecuting Office, Attorney's Office, English, the defendant Bryan Kohberger, defendant's attorney Ann Taylor, stipulate to the following plea agreement. Defendant will enter a guilty plea, pleas to the following counts: burglary, felony in count 1, murder in the first degree, felony in count 2, murder in the first degree, felony in count 3, murder in the first degree, felony in count 4, and murder in the first degree, a felony in count 5, as stated in the indictment. The defendant will be sentenced to 10 years fixed for count 1, the burglary. The defendant will receive 5 consecutive life sentences for counts 2 through 5. The state may seek restitution orders regarding funeral expenses and crime victims' compensation reimbursement in an amount to be determined. Defendant understands the nature of the charge to which defendant agrees to plead guilty and acknowledges, this is important, that he is not being coerced into entering this plea of guilty, b, the consequences of pleading guilty, including the maximum penalties that may be imposed and the mandatory minimum penalties, and that c, by pleading guilty, he waives his right to a jury trial, to confront accusers, and refrain from incriminating himself. Defendant further acknowledges that he is satisfied with his legal representation. He has reviewed this with his attorney, all possible defenses, and by his plea of guilty, voluntarily waives those defenses and all claims based on his constitutional rights. Interestingly enough, he told the courts that he was not being coerced.
But
So how can you come back a year later?
mommy, but
Yes, you say, excuse me.
that's me.
It-
She shows me.
Yep, and I do have the full video of his sentencing and his plea hearing. I just don't know if I actually want to show it because kind of want to make this quicker because it's just there's only so much you can say about Bryan Kohberger before you're like, F this dude. Defendant understands that if he were to proceed to a trial, that he would have a right to appeal, including but not limited to any issues decided by the court prior to defendant's guilty plea, including any rulings on the admissibility of evidence, the judgment, including the finding of guilt, and any issues regarding the guilty plea and the sentence. Further, the defendant understands that if he were to proceed to trial, he would have the right to file a motion under Idaho Criminal Rule 35 seeking a reduction of the sentence. The defendant hereby knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waives all rights to appeal any and all issues in this case and waives the right to file a motion pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 35. This right here. Hey, Don, how are you? Too late to take it back now. I feel like it's because he got moved to Gen Pop and he thought he was going to stay in protective custody. Does he think that a life sentence isn't a death sentence? What the fuck is he talking about? I don't know. This entire agreement and understanding between the parties is stipulated the 30th day of June, 2025. Signed by the prosecuting attorney, the senior deputy prosecuting attorney, Ann Taylor, counsel for defendants, and Bryan Kohberger. I mean, so if we get into this and we break this down, looking at paragraph 5 is the biggest and the most important one that I think is on the table. And I'm closing tabs because I have to close tabs in order to keep my brain from... You ever know when you have too many tabs open and your brain just short circuits or buffers? I do not want my brain to buffer any more than it already does on a daily basis. I was trying to tell somebody what a Chiari malformation was yesterday, and I could not remember the name Chiari malformation. Yeah. And if you know, you know. All right. So, defendant understands the charge. He understood the consequences. He was satisfied with his legal representation. He acknowledged he was not being coerced. He said he and his lawyers reviewed all possible defenses, and his plea of guilty voluntarily waives those defenses and all claims based on his constitutional rights. Before Kohberger ever answered the judge's questions, he signed a document saying the exact same freaking thing. The exact opposite of what he is now claiming. Some fuckery is afoot. Something is shady. And I think it goes back to his living conditions and he is pissed. And or he just wanted to torture the families. Either one is plausible. I don't know if either one are actually true. Volusia 1 did say that he thought he was moved into Gen Pop. I don't actually know if that's true or not. I trust Volusia, but that's the only person that I've heard saying that. But that was just my first thought when this came up yesterday. Because if you watched my stream on ETM yesterday, you heard me talk about this slightly because I found out about this like 5 minutes before I went live on ETM yesterday. And I was like, yep, I know what we're talking about tomorrow on Squid. It's... And if you have not checked out my stream on Evidence Through Motion yesterday or have not checked out that channel, and please do. We are at 465 subscribers. We talked about fraud yesterday and DME fraud. And I actually possibly have some documents of not Medicare DME fraud, but just companies in Florida just finding private healthcare insurance, finding healthcare accounts that are no longer used, like someone retires and they no longer have health insurance through their employer, but that account number still exists, or that claim or health insurance policy number still exists. It's just no longer active. And people have filed claims against insurance that is no longer active. that's a current situation that is going on right now. And when I can talk more about it, I will let you guys know and we will have a discussion if the person involved lets me talk. It's yeah. Did he have a person lawyer or a state assigned lawyer? So the lawyer he had was pro hoc vice. So it wasn't, he did have some public defenders, but not all four were public defenders. I believe Ann Taylor is not a public defender. She is a very, I believe she was from California. I can't remember exactly where she's from, but she was admitted pro hoc vice. One of his lawyers was admitted pro hoc vice, and she's the one that specializes in the death penalty cases. So don't quote me on the exact one. I don't remember. I can't remember what my neurological condition is that I've had for probably most of my life, and I could not even remember that yesterday. So bear with me on the poor memory. Yeah, and I do have an entire Fraud Files playlist over there. We do talk about a lot of healthcare related stuff, including cases, but we talk about stuff over there on how we can be a better consumer and prevent ourselves from being taken advantage of by scammers and fraudsters. Yep, I'm right there with you. Yep. Most doctors, I tell them I have a Chiari malformation, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "How do you not know what that is? You're a doctor." Exactly. All right. So this does not mean that this petition won't work and that he won't get a trial and we won't have to suffer through a Bryan Kohberger trial. However, there is certain things that just make you go, I don't see this happening. And the plea agreement is one of them.
Mommy, see what?
Yes.
Okay.
So we aren't going to play. I do have the full video of the plea hearing. I don't think it's worth watching the whole thing. And I wish I had timestamps. But basically, for those of you who have not seen it, I will put the link to it. It is from Crumb 2 News. However, the things to pay attention to here are in this plea hearing. He says, "I haven't gotten any threats." July 2026, death row threats and coercion. The plea hearing and the plea deal, no unauthorized promises. July 2026 allegation, promises allegedly attributed to the Department of Corrections.
Pass. Mommy, pass it this.
Yes.
Pass. Yes.
You want this one?
Yes. Yes, I want this one.
Because it's a banana?
Yes, this is Nana. Nana, pass it then. Nana.
Okay.
Nana said yes.
I just... it's just
Mommy, it open. Mommy,
But even his non-state, all his attorneys were being paid for by the state.
Mommy, I want
So that's all you get, just the one. Otherwise, I'm gonna need to grift for some more money for this because you use all mine up. All right, so I do have the transcript that I will look through first. So I'll try to get better. So 1330. CNN, bless their heart, has a nice transcript. So
Baby,
$5,000 to each of the victims of your crime. to be enforced in the form of a civil judgment, to operate as additional punishment. This is in excess of any restitution or fines that the court could order. And again, you may be required to pay restitution to the victims of the crime. You would be required to provide, as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression, and potentially pay for analysis of those samples. You would lose any right to possess, purchase, or carry. As I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement. Any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
But
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kohberger, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
he doesn't, I mean, his body language says a whole bunch of, if you're the body language type of people, his body language says a whole bunch of stuff there, but none of it says I'm being coerced.
It's okay.
It just says psychopath to me, but like I said, I don't diagnose because that's not my job. But hypothetically, in Minecraft, if I were to throw out a diagnosis that I think he has,
This one.
it would be, no, I'm gonna put you down.
No.
Then stop. Oh my goodness.
The
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe
None of that sounds forced. He sounds the same during every question. Yes, 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 yes. Monotone.
Mommy, I want
No. Get down. There you go. He doesn't sound like he's forced. Yeah, he doesn't sound fearful of his lawyers. Like, he's educated in criminology. He knows what he's agreeing to. It's just
it's in
situation.
your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the advice you've received? Yes to 2026. Counsel misled and manipulated you. I mean, and I'm not one to read body language of attorneys, but looking at his lawyer sitting to his left, she doesn't look like she's entirely happy about this. Like, look at her and her face. Look at all his attorneys. His attorneys are just like, it is what it is. Here we go. They don't look like they're entirely thrilled about this guilty plea themselves. I don't know. It's so weird. He doesn't want to be spit roasted anymore in Gen Pop. I don't think he's being spit roasted. I'm not going to lie. Because I think other people are, like I said, once you've been that up close and personal with your victims, you're an unpredictable person. And if you're unpredictable on the outside, you're damn sure going to be unpredictable to other people who have also committed serious crimes. So I'd be minding my business. It's I'm not even reading this out loud, but I will put it on the screen just so y'all can see it.
As well as your sentence?
Yes.
Like, he doesn't even lean forward. He just stiff as a board.
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you to your satisfaction about what your rights are, what your defenses may be, and what the possible consequences to you of your guilty plea are?
Yes.
Has your attorney done everything you've asked them to do?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with their representation of you?
Yes.
I have received a written guilty plea advisory questionnaire that is purported to be filled out by you. Did you fill that document out?
Yes.
Did you understand the questions that you answered in this document?
Yes.
And are the answers that are outlined in this document your answers?
Yes.
Are those answers truthful?
Yes.
Did you sign the document?
Yes.
And this document outlines many of the rights that you have in this case should you not plead guilty. Did you understand those rights?
Yes.
They include a right to a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to require the state to prove your guilt as to each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to confront your accusers and cross-examine witnesses presented by the state, including by utilizing the subpoena power of the court to accomplish that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand you would have a privilege against self-incrimination and a right to remain silent, meaning you would not be compelled to testify if you did not wish to, had you not pled guilty.
Yes.
You understand you're giving up that privilege and those rights that I've just outlined by pleading guilty.
Yes.
None of that sounds coerced to me. I might just be naive. Call me whatever you want. A lot of people call me a lot of things. A lot of times I don't give a shit. But here's the thing. So the hair evidence might be worth looking into. However, it's too soon to call it exculpatory. It might be just something that was already looked into. Or that clump of hair is actual evidence of innocence. The thing that I found and that came to my mind when I was driving my car thinking about shit. And I'm like, well, what would I do if I was Kohberger's attorney? And he just wrote this saying that I lied and coerced him. This might be my opportunity to tell the court what I knew. Does that break attorney-client privilege if I'm just responding to his allegations against me? I don't think he thought that through. So he did say that his attorneys lied, among other things, but now is the time where he has to prove it. The world will be watching. But here's one question before we go. Final thoughts that I have for y'all. And this is kind of what do you find more credible? Kohberger answering a judge's questions about whether he was coerced into accepting a plea deal of a life sentence, 4 consecutive life sentences, or Kohberger writing from prison when he realizes that 4 consecutive life sentences means that he's not going to have a fun time ever. Which is more plausible to you? Because I think I have an answer. Please let me know in the comments if I'm right. If you agree with me, because I think the latter sounds more plausible when the reality hits you that your life is going to suck. you start to act out and try to do whatever you can to get out of your situation. And I think this is all he has. For being such a smart guy, he's so stupid. So stupid. But please let me know in the comments section if you made it to the end of this stream and you think I'm completely right, or you think I am way the hell off base and that he is innocent. He is doing this because he was coerced. You believe that he was coerced and you want him to have a trial. I'm really it's a really interesting conundrum here. Because I have fun is what you make it. Josh Ritter said the defense could have had the hair tested further, but wouldn't have had to say it was unknown leads to more chances of reasonable doubt. Unless he didn't know what the words meant and he's an idiot. Yeah, and the judge was very, very cautious in covering everything. He signed a plea agreement. He said it in front of the judge. The judge asked him about whether he wrote or signed the plea agreement, whether he understood it. The plea hearing says it all. I don't know. But anyway, guys, y'all have a good rest of your day. I am going to go try to figure out what I'm going to make for dinner, because we have to work tonight too. However, this was a little bit shorter of a stream. Please hit that thumbs up button. Please share this stream if you want a non-lawyer's opinion. I know lots of lawyers are commenting on this and giving their opinion, but I am not a lawyer. I am just someone who sees shit and calls it like I see it. And sometimes it makes sense, and some days, it is what it is. However, I am redirecting you guys back over to Spawn Trooper for his gaming sesh. Y'all have fun. Tell him that I sent you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We are falling down more of the Alex Murdaugh boat crash, Mandy Matney, and what did they want from her rabbit hole? And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.